Welcome to the Wrestling Replay. I am Kato. If you are new to my channel, what we like to do here is talk about the news in the world of wrestling, discuss AEW and WWE televised shows, speak on storylines we like, ones we want to see, and ways to make those storylines happen. Alright, today we're going to go ahead and get into AEW's Go Home show before Full Gear pay-per-view. The show was pretty good. It started off with MJF and Wardlow versus Sammy Gervaiz and Ortiz of the Inner Circle. This match came about pretty much because Sammy and Ortiz both feel like that MJF does not deserve to be in the Inner Circle and they do not want him inside the Inner Circle. But this actually turned out to be a really good tag team match. It opened the show. Too bad for Sammy, Matt Hardy was at ringside. His 4-year opponent ended up smashing him in the head with a steel chair, allowing MJF to force Ortiz to tap out to his armbar. Now after the match, things got a little bit more interesting with MJF actually attacking Jericho at the broadcast table. That's not like MJF. We haven't seen that side of him, especially when it comes to Chris Jericho. Of course, when it comes to other baby faces like Cody Rhodes, when they had their feud, and Moxley, we could expect that. But he seemed to have respect for Chris Jericho and actually wants to be inside his Inner Circle. So for him to actually do that and attack Jericho at that broadcast table, it says a lot. It shows how much he really wants to win at Full Gear. Not only that, it did take Santana and Hager a little bit more time to actually get out to that broadcast table to check on Jericho. I don't know if I'm really reading into things just a little bit too much, but there could be something there, maybe not. I could just be reading into it a bit much. So the next match of the night, we had Trent and Miro going at it one-on-one. This would actually be Miro's first single match in AEW. I'm a little disappointed. Well, he did dominate the match. Well, he controlled the match. I'm not going to say he dominated. He controlled the match for most of the match. Trent did get his offense in at times and even almost closed out the match, and he actually made one mistake that cost him to be put in that camel clutch and forcing him to tap out. My only issue with this match is that it's being Miro's first match in AEW. I would like his first match to be a squash match somewhere where he shows his power and dominance, so that hey, when Kip Sabian runs and go get Miro, it should strike some type of fear, like, oh no, don't get Miro because I know what he did to guys prior. And that was really my only issue with the match. But overall, it was a good match, and Miro still got to control most of the match. So though he didn't have like a true dominant squash match, beat a guy in about 2-3 minutes that I would have liked, he still came out and put on a really good performance. I was a bit confused at one point. The Dark Order came out and they all jumped on Orange Cassidy, who was at ringside for the match, of course, because one of his best friends, Trent, was inside the match. We all know that Orange Cassidy and Silva will be facing each other at Full Gear. Now, once the refs separated the Dark Order from jumping on Orange Cassidy, it was actually Miro who actually came outside the ring and told them, like, hey, get out of here. This is my match. What are you doing? Go back to the back. And I thought that was just a little bit weird for Miro to be able to chase off the whole Dark Order by himself. I feel like it should have been someone like Brody Lee calling him back, or when Brody Lee is not there, whoever would be in charge to say, all right, come on, guys, let's retreat. Come on back. I don't think Miro should be the one, sending 6 or 7 guys back to the back. And after the match, Miro and Kip Sabian decided to continue to attack on the best friends, and it was Orange Cassidy making his way back to the feet and hitting an orange drop from the top rope to pretty much save his best friends. But I think this is a feud that they're going to continue to build. I don't really see it going anywhere, considering that the best friends are kind of out of the tag team title picture. Miro and Kip Sabian, I don't see where they would actually fit in after this feud. Let's say they win this feud and they end up on top. I don't see where they would go next, Kip Sabian was just trying to find his way around before Miro even came in. Now that Miro's here, if this is a legit tag team and they're going to actually focus on the tag team titles, I would have to believe a team like a Private Party would be next. But after that, it's not too many, face tag teams to go after, with the Young Bucks looking like they're walking a thin line between heel and face right now. So it'll be interesting to see where they want to go with the storyline after it's all over. And speaking of those tag teams, we have Private Party versus the Young Bucks. The Bucks looking to build some momentum going into their 4-year match versus FTR for those tag team titles, in a match where if they lose, they will never be able to go after those AEW tag team titles again. Now, I don't think this will be a situation like Cody Rhodes where he lost and now he will never be the AEW World Champion. I think they will actually allow the Bucks to win those tag titles, because if the Bucks can never go after the tag team championship again, there has to be something else in the works, like maybe a 3-man tag title or something of that nature, because I can't imagine an AEW where the Bucks have no chance of being the tag team champions. But let's go ahead and get into that match. Now, one thing I have to say about AEW, they have those tag teams that you can put together and just know it's going to be a great match. It's going to be non-stop action. It's going to be high flying. It's going to have you on the edge of your seat. And these two teams are some of those teams that AEW have. When you see these four guys, together and paired up, you know what you're going to get. They all have high motors and they all have high flying ability. And tonight they put on a hell of a match, but at the end of the day, it was the Bucks overcoming Matt's injury to his leg, which still seemed to be bothering him, and they put away the Young Bucks. Wish they would have finished them off with a better tag team move. They have moves within a match, right? Moves within this match that look way more impactful, that look smoother, that look better. It just came along in the flow of the match. That would have looked much better as a finishing move versus the one they pulled out tonight. So I hope in the future they decide to go with one of those tag team moves, one of those double team moves to put away their opponents. Now, even though the Bucks managed to get a win, they still found themselves on the wrong end of another beatdown by the hands of FTR. They actually had Matt's legs set up in that chair one more time to look to re-injure it, or at least make the injury worse, which was stopped by Heyman Page and Omega, which is an unlikely pair. Now, we know that Heyman Page and FTR has a history. He thought they would befriending him, and really they were just using him to get it one step closer to them tag tables, and they did it to perfection. Thought it was going to be fireworks, because this was the first time that Omega and Page have actually seen eye to eye in weeks, and it looked like those two was ready to explode, but it didn't happen. They're going to save it for Full Gear, and let me tell you, that finals match at Full Gear to decide who's going to be the number one contender for that AEW title match is going to be a hell of a match. It's definitely going to be match of the night contender, I guarantee it. Now, following that match, I normally don't talk about promos, but we had a promo between Moxley and Kingston where they got to see each other face to face in the ring, but they could not touch each other. If they did, the match at AEW's Full Gear would be canceled. There would be no I Quit match. And honestly, this was Moxley's best promo since joining AEW. You can clearly see that him and Kingston has a chemistry. Them two together is like magic. This is a feud that AEW should have tried to stretch out to make it longer, because these two mesh together so well. Even the promos bringing them together is almost like a match itself. Their promo was that entertaining that it was like a match in itself. So this match at Full Gear, the hype is through the roof. If this didn't sell it for anyone to get Full Gear, nothing will. Because this is the type of promo that makes you actually want to go out and buy the pay-per-view. Now you can't wait that Full Gear is only a few days away. After their in-ring face-to-face confrontation, we went to the back where there was an interview being had by QT and Dustin Rhodes when the Bunny walks up. And this is what I like about her. This is what I like about her being with the Butcher and the Blade, because she set up QT and Dustin Rhodes to be ambushed by the Butcher and the Blade. She used her sex appeal, she used her seduction, and she pretty much handed QT his credit cards and said, hey, these are all maxed out. And that's what I like about the Bunny. That should be the Bunny's role, to pretty much find a way to sucker guys in, to making them want her, and pretty much hypnotize guys to helping Butcher and the Blade get to the top. And I think this will be the key, just that little extra little push they need to be a solidified tag team. And I can see them with tag team gold in the future. Now we finally got ourselves a women's match. It was Nyla Rose versus Red Velvet. This was pretty much a match where you knew Nyla Rose was going to dominate. You knew it was going to be a squash match. But nonetheless, you got something building towards full gear for the women. You got some momentum going. You got a new face in the women's division on TNT Dynamite. Brandy Rose was actually in her corner, which I thought was pretty cool. I wouldn't mind seeing Brandy Rose actually forming a faction of women that she wants to see to kind of overthrow the women's division and let her control it. She doesn't have to be the champion, but she could definitely be the mouthpiece in the face of a faction that runs that division. And I really hope they do get those tag team titles. I read an article not too long ago, I believe it was on WrestlingInc.com, where Brandy is actually thinking about adding tag team titles for the women's division, which will be good, but it's not going to matter if these women are still not on the Dynamite shows and still able to, capture the audience and have their chance to come out here and, win the fans over. But nonetheless, we did get a women's match, and I'm definitely very excited about that. Hopefully we get more to come. So Nyla Rose also decided to send a message to Shida by beating Red Velvet with Shida's finishing move. After the match, Vicky begins to grab the mic and start to tear into Shida on ringside, which leads into a brawl between Nyla Rose and Shida. Now that's what I'm talking about, getting us some momentum for this women's AEW title, and really letting us see there's a feud there, letting us see that, there's some there's something going on there for us to actually care about. Now in our main event of the night, we had Cody Rhodes and the Gun Club, Billy Gunn and Austin Gunn versus Colt Cabana of the Dark Order, 10 and Silver. This match was pretty good. I was actually just happy to see Billy Gunn and Austin Gunn in the ring on Dynamite and not at ringside. These two are definitely talents that they can use. Billy Gunn is definitely someone, a veteran, that you can use to help mold your younger talent and help get Austin Gunn over. I really would like to see Austin Gunn and Brian Pillman Jr. actually form a tag team and let Billy Gunn kind of mold these two guys as they begin to make their climb up the tag team ladder. I would have liked to see MJF and Wardlow's tag team match in the main event, but this wasn't a bad match to finish off the show the way they did. Now, Cody Rhodes and the Gun Club got the win, but of course they was ambushed quickly by the Dark Order, who surrounded the ring. It was actually Orange Cassidy who came out and attacked Silver, who had a chair looking to sneak in behind Cody and the Gun Club and Arn Anderson while they was in the ring trying to fend off the Dark Order, and that pretty much ran the rest of the Dark Order off. Now, the more interesting part of this match was the ending. The promo that Cody Rhodes had towards Darby Allin, who is sitting at the top in the rafters where he has been for the past couple of weeks. In this promo, Cody talked about how Darby wants to be the face of the company, how he wants to have the Ace title, and how the company won't let him be that man. And Cody is the one who brought Darby Allin in. He brought him on, and to prove that Darby Allin was as good as Cody said he was, he fought Darby Allin one-on-one. Now that brings me to the fact of Cody saying that the TNT title is the Ace title in AEW. The TNT title is carried by the face of AEW. Now it all makes sense of why Cody doesn't want to be the AEW World Champion. Because he believes anyway that he's the face. He believes regardless that the title that he holds, whatever title that may be, is the title that is the number one title in the company. Now if I'm Jon Moxley, I would have to take an issue with that after the Full Gear. I would have to take an issue with you thinking you're the ace guy, you're the face, and the title you hold is better than the title that I hold. Now it could be me reading into it a bit much, but I feel like that's where the storyline should go next. I feel like that's where it has to go, because those two being champions, they don't have to put each other belts on the line. It could be for a pride thing. It could be a show on Dynamite. It doesn't have to be a pay-per-view match. Cody thinking he's the face and have the eighth title has to be a problem with the World Heavyweight Champion of AEW. Alright. So, looking at it all, breakdown of the whole show, it wasn't a bad show. This was definitely an ideal come home show. It was, let me count here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 segments, 8 segments. Alright, my only issue is we had 8 segments, and I know they was geared towards Full Gear and, you know, trying to push the pay-per-view out, getting everyone, you know, ramped up to watch the pay-per-view. But we had 8 segments in one women's squash match. 8 segments in one women's squash match. I'm going to repeat my argument from last week. Put the women out there, give them a chance, allow them the opportunity to get over, allow them the opportunity to steal the whole show. All right. Now with me actually thinking about it, MJF and Sammy, I think should have been the match for Full Gear. I think they should have held off on that Jericho match, because if we're really sitting here and looking at this storyline, right? MJF is pushing Sammy out. He's isolating Sammy and insulting Sammy every chance he gets. We all know that Sammy is Jericho's right-hand man. We already know that that's the tag team. When Jericho had to pick a partner, it was Sammy. These two guys was going to go after the AEW tag titles. Now, when MJF comes in, it's ironic that the one guy that he wants to push out, that he insults, is Sammy. So it would have made more sense for MJF and Sammy to go at it at Full Gear first. If he wins, then he gets a shot at Jericho. If he loses, okay, back of the line. But these two could have had a really good feud just from that tag match. When you seen them in the match, the story that they told within the ropes was really good. It was really, really good. MJF's ability to do promos would have just boosted this feud to the next level, and I think that's one thing they could have changed and did better. The other thing I actually like and applaud is Taz. Taz actually came out during the show and he cut a promo, and only reason I liked it so much is because he was echoing an argument that I have been arguing since the start of AEW. Your ranking system is trash. He has 2 wrestlers in his stable right now who is 10-1. One is in the top 5, one is not ranked at all. That makes 0 sense. Thank you, Taz, because this ranking system is trash. It's bogus. If that's the case, Ricky Starks should probably be the one getting that TNT title match. And it would actually make sense and be a pretty damn good match, to be honest. Other than that, I think the show did what the show was supposed to do. Get us ready for Full Gear. And I cannot wait for the pay-per-view. I'm still waiting. I want to see Pac in the ring. That's the only other thing also. Oh, the only issue I had with the show, actually, I'm sorry. The only issue I had was that the NWA title is going to be defended on the card. And there was no push to that at all. No push to the women for the the NWA's title for the women. There was no push at all for that. I felt like it was something that was just thrown together last minute. And that's like a slap in the face to the women's division again to me, because you push matches that aren't even, have any type of title implication on it. This is an NWA title from a woman on your roster who holds that belt. You would think to at least add some type of spice to help build some boost for this match. But other than that, the show was fine. It was good. It did what it was supposed to do. It built up the rest of the Full Gear's card. Let me know your Full Gear predictions. I'll be doing another video on my Full Gear predictions where I'll break down every match, where I see the storylines going afterwards, and who I think the winner will be. Let me know who you guys think is going to win. Let me know what you guys think about the AEW card, the Full Gear card itself. If you think some matches should change, if you would have liked to see other matches in place of certain matches, let me know about that. Other than that, I'm Kato. I'm signing off. Peace.